Okay, in this video we're going to be picking up from where we left off last time with limiting reactant, and we're going to figure out how much of our excess reactant is remaining. Again, you need the same things as you did last time. Once you have all of those ready, let's go. So there are lots and lots and lots of different ways to calculate excess reactant. Use whichever one is most comfortable to you. I'm going to show you what I think is the easiest one. But if you want to go through and do a backwards calculation, then subtract, or if you want to subtract, then do a backwards calculation, feel free to do it. It will work out exactly the same way as it did before. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out by making a ratio between how much of the product each of the two reactants could make. Right, so my limiting reactant will be on top, my excess will be on bottom. I'm going to take that decimal because that tells me how much of my excess reactant I use, what percentage of it. I'm going to subtract that from 1, right? So from 100%, that will tell me the percentage of my excess reactant that is remaining. And then if I take the percentage remaining and multiply it by the amount that I started with, that will tell me how many grams I have left over at the end. All right, so this is how I'm going to show you to calculate excess reactant. Again, there are other methods if you look at other sources. So what we'll do is we'll do our silver problem from the previous video. If we recall our previous video, the limiting reactant produced 0.921 grams of silver. The excess reactant, which was copper, produced 3.39 grams. So I'm going to make my ratio, so 0.921 over 3.39. That's 0.27 and some change, which means I used up 27.1% of my copper. If I subtract that from 1, that tells me how much I have remaining. So that's going to be 0.728 and change, or 72.8%. And then to figure out what mass is left over, 72.8% of my initial mass. My initial mass from the last video, remember, was 1 gram. So 72.8% of 1 gram is 0.728 grams of copper. That's how much we have left over after this reaction is done. Right? So we wound up reacting 1.45 grams of silver nitrate with 1 gram of copper. We got 0.921 grams of silver, and we had 0.728 grams of copper left over at the end. So that's how you calculate excess reactant. Our next video, which will be the last one for this chapter, is how to figure out percent yield, and that one will be a very short one. I will see you in the next video.